part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
And welcome to another edition of the Red Guy and Rhoda podcast, brought to you by MGM Northfield Park, right here on the Press Play Podcast Network. Shout out to our esteemed producer, Dave Emmert, to make sure everything sounds good for you listening out there in the podcatosphere. And Reg, it's been a while since you and I have been back together doing one of these R&R podcasts. You've been busy, I've been busy, and the sports world's been busy as we're going to try and tackle in this next hour of this podcast. The Browns make a trade, Brady unretires, Cavs limping into the playoffs, March Madness, the bracket is out, and oh yeah, MLB is returning whether anybody cares or not out there. How about that?
Yeah, that's I like the menu. That's terrific. A lot of stuff. Great to get us back rolling again, Ken. And yeah, let's do that, man. Let's get hopping. Amari Cooper, huh? Andrew Berry saying let's get aggressive here and go get whoever my quarterback is a receiver.
How about that? I knew he was going to be in play for a couple of teams, and I thought the Browns might be one of them, Reg, because they are receiver starved, right? When you look at that, the receiving room, and whether or not they bring Jarvis Landry back or not, maybe this, clearly opens the door for him to go elsewhere as they've told him to explore things. But Amari Cooper, is he the elite of the elite receivers? Would he be in that tier one in the NFL? In my opinion, no, but compared to what the Browns have on their roster, he's elite compared to what they have on their roster. And I think it's a major upgrade for them heading into free agency. We're taping this on Sunday night, so free agency begins the 16th of this month. And then, of course, the draft coming up at the end of April, early May.
Yeah, Kenny, I don't think that he is a true one anymore. However, I do like him a lot. I think he's been a very damn good receiver in the National Football League. And if you don't consider him a one, then he is a very strong and solid two. And it's an upgrade for where the Cleveland Browns are and where they need to go with that position, Ken. Now you wonder, I'm wondering, I made some calls into Chicago today. There are a lot of people that believe Allen Robinson is next on Andrew Berry's wish list.
That would be nice.
Yes, all for that. Now you got you team him with Amari Cooper, and yes, now probably Jarvis Landry is going to be in a different uniform next year, and maybe Donovan Peoples-Jones is your three. Okay. So, Ken, I mean, if you're going to tell me your three wide receivers are Amari Cooper, Allen Robinson, and Donovan Peoples-Jones, I'm good. I'm cool with that. I'll start that out and say that the Browns have made an upgrade. And now Andrew Berry, what have they told us, Ken? They've told us, well, Baker Mayfield's our starting quarterback, right?
Yep.
Okay. Do
you buy in that?
I'm not. No, I'm not buying that yet. I think that's because that's what they have to say right now, Ken.
Absolutely.
But I think that Barry is still looking to be aggressive, and I believe he's looking to upgrade the position. How about you?
I think they are kicking the tires on what it would take to get Deshaun Watson from the Houston Texans.
Well, that might be heavy now.
I'm just saying, Reg. I'm just saying, yeah, think about this now. If what you just mentioned about Allen Robinson comes to fruition, right? So you got, let's call them two number twos, solid number twos, but one of them is going to be a number one here, right? Sure. Along with Donovan Peoples-Jones. You got Chubb and D'Ernest and Kareem Hunt in the backfield, unless you have to, throw Kareem Hunt in to sweeten the pot on maybe a trade. You've got the tight end, David Njoku, that you just franchised, right? Along with Harrison Bryant and Austin Hooper, at least for one more year, because the cost.
He'll be gone.
Do you think? Well, here's the thing, Reg. In talking with Daryl Ryder with 92.3 The Fan, their Browns beat reporter, they don't get much cap relief releasing him this year. Okay. So True. I was with you. I thought for sure, just cut him. But they're only going to save like $2 million, I think it is, on the cap if they were to do that. So maybe they do, if that's all they're looking for to save. I would prefer to get rid of him. I think it's been, one of Andrew Berry's worst moves, a bad signing from that standpoint. But offensive line wise, if Conklin's back healthy, you've got, even if Harris is your center over JC Treader, who I think that's a route they're going to take and save some money in free agency. It's a nice offense with an Amari Cooper. And if you sign Allen Robinson as a free agent, so guess what? You don't have to use that 13th overall pick to draft a wide receiver. You could put that in play in a trade for a guy like Deshaun Watson, a number one this year and next year, if you truly believe his legal woes are over and you believe in him as being a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. So maybe if they sign Allen Robinson, we should wait and see, because that could lead to them being interested in Deshaun Robinson. But even though I am interested in him as a quarterback, as far as being a more talented quarterback than Baker Mayfield, and maybe Andrew Berry's interested in him, the question is Deshaun Watson interested in coming to the Browns because he has the no trade clause?
That's right. Exactly. That I worry about. And again, not that I have any inside information, but I would question whether or not he would be to coming to Cleveland. Then, Kenny, you also have the thing, is Andrew Berry the type of general manager, given Watson's issues,
right?
And not good when you talk about assaulting females, although he was found innocent, correct?
No charges, criminal charges. Yeah, no charges. Criminal charges.
But there's going to be civil charges.
Yes.
We know that, as there always is. So my thing is, if you're Andrew Berry and I don't know, the Haslams, how are you approaching this with your fan base in mind, and whether or not you feel that half the season ticket holders are going to tell you, I'm not rooting for a team that has a woman beater on it. And you know how that rolls, Kenny.
But they already do, Reg, right? In Kareem Hunt.
Well,
so
he had an incident. He surely did. Yeah.
So, that's something where I look at that and I remember Dee Haslam coming out, they used her in speaking out and saying they believe he's a changed man and this isn't going to be an issue anymore. And from that standpoint, assaulting females or allegedly assaulting females, that hasn't been an issue. He's had some other issues, but not that. And Deshaun Watson, again, there are, I think it's 22 allegations, right?
22 is a number, yeah.
Civil suits against him. We'll see if those, play out and he is negligent on all of those, or if some of those disappear, if they all disappear. Obviously, there was something going on there, and it's not a good look, and I don't condone that. Don't get me wrong. I'm just looking at it from a football standpoint. Now that he's been cleared of the criminal charges, supposedly the Saints and Panthers have already made offers, if you believe what's on the internet, now that he's been charged or cleared of the criminal charges. So I think the Browns will kick the tires on it just to see what it would take to get him. And I think 2 first-round picks, Baker Mayfield, a 2nd-round pick, and maybe another player might be the asking price.
You're in the right neighborhood.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And so that's why I said when you asked the 13, well, that's definitely going to be gone.
Yes.
So that's, you're going to give up your 1s this year and next.
Yes.
You might give up multiple 2s, Ken.
Yeah.
And you'll try to have them take back. I assume they would take Baker Mayfield because they're going to need quarterbacks in their camp.
Correct.
And then, as you said, you may need to put and I know maybe another, doesn't have to be necessarily one of your top, but I bet you would have to be one of your starters on either side of the ball.
Kareem Hunt comes to mind. That's why I brought him up as a running back.
I'd hate to give Kareem Hunt up, but that's
or
just
D'Ernest, one or the other, right?
D'Ernest Johnson, I believe so. Yeah, one of them.
So it's just something to think about, Reg. And again, Daryl, I saw his tweet the other day. He put the 4-year stats up for Mayfield versus Watson. And yardage wise, Watson's got an edge by 400 yards. Touchdown wise, he's got an edge by 12. But interception wise, he's thrown 20 less picks than Baker Mayfield. And we haven't even factored in his mobility and his running touchdowns and rushing yards. So there are a number of teams that are quarterback starved. The Panthers and the Saints are two of them. The Steelers, another one, but supposedly they don't have interest in Watson. So we'll have to wait and see there. I'm just saying it's something that if you're Barry, I think you look at. If not, if Baker, if you're true to your word, Reg, like we started this conversation when Barry said that, okay, fine. Baker's your guy, at least for this year. Well, then Allen Robinson and, if you were to sign him in free agency and Amari Cooper, you've given Baker everything he needs then on offense to succeed this year. And at least, from that standpoint, you can say to him, look, prove it to us if you want that extension, because we've loaded up the offense for you if they make all those moves.
Well, sure, there's no question about that. However, to me, that's why it almost seems like that Barry has let it be known, at least to Amari Cooper, and potentially if he's going to talk to Allen Robinson and the Bears, that we're going to go get another quarterback. Because, Ken, I know technically, you're talking about a trade for Cooper, but if you're going to go, but remember, and that's why the Browns did that. Let's remember that, because if indeed all that is correct, that the Cowboys are going to release Cooper, the Browns couldn't wait until that happened, because I don't think he'd be here, quite honestly.
Exactly.
So you got to go get him a trade. So there's a lot of intriguing stuff here, and we'll see if, how Andrew Barry's going to play this. And I like the aggression with the receivers. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. All right. Real quick, Reg, off the topic of the Browns, but still in the National Football League. My son let me know this. I actually fell asleep on the couch. I was taking a nap, right? My phone, vibrates, and my son's like, can you believe Brady's coming out of retirement after a month or whatever it is? And I'm like, what? And I had to
40
go read
days,
it.
kid.
40 days.
It was 40 days ago. He said, I'm gonna move on with life.
I love my kids. I love my wife, but man, I really love football, huh? I mean, that's what he's basically saying, right?
Well, Giselle and the kids right now, you didn't hold the hammer real long, 40 days. Because listen, Brady wants an 8th Super Bowl, man. He's a glutton now, Kenny. He's got 7 of them. He's 6 with one team and 1 with the other. And I don't know. He and Bruce Arians, man. I mean, I think Arians has, because he told him, you don't want to be at home, man. Right. Come on back with us and we'll win another one. So
you miss the fellas. You know that. You miss them already.
Of course he does. Of course he does. And so, wow, pretty wild. It barely got over a month, and he says, I'm going to come back and be the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Bucks. It's wild.
Well, check this out. He's coming back to Tampa. Green Bay keeps Aaron Rodgers at least for one more year. The big trade, Russell Wilson goes from Seattle to Denver. I just saw that the Vikings extended Kirk Cousins. Yeah, so he's staying there. So, Baker Mayfield supposedly.
And Matthew Stafford went to the Rams and won a Super Bowl in year 1.
Right, exactly. So
there you go.
Baker's staying in Cleveland supposedly, but we'll let that play out. We'll see where that goes. Again, free agency starts March 16th, tampering on the 14th. I guess, let me rephrase that. Discussions or legal tampering starts on the 14th. And then you can sign somebody on the 16th. So we'll see if the Browns go after that Allen Robinson thing you've been hearing some rumblings about. All right, Reg, let's do this. Break time for us here on the R&R podcast. When we come back, we got to talk about the Cavaliers. They're hanging in there, Reg, but they're trending in the wrong direction, man. They're limping towards what looks to be a play-in spot as opposed to a playoff spot. We'll discuss that next when we return to the Regi and Rhoda podcast here on the Press Play Podcast Network.
For the Dennis Maniloff Show, I'll tap into my 40-plus years of following Cleveland sports and 30-plus years of writing and talking about them, so as to bring you informed opinions and analysis of your favorite players and teams. I also will monitor the national sports scene and, when warranted, step out of the toy department and into the real world. And I'll always be on the lookout for special guests. By all means, join us.
Hi, my name is Sam Post, owner of Phenomwell CBD Store and PhenomwellCBD.com. That's like phenomenal, PhenomwellCBD.com. Tune in where we talk with experts about how the amazing hemp plant can make a difference for people's health, and well-being from the Press Play Podcast Network.
And we continue with the R&R podcast here on the Press Play Podcast Network, brought to you by Northfield Park. And Michael, the Cavaliers, they're hanging in there, Reg, with all the injuries that they have had. And boy, you pick up I guess you don't pick up the paper anymore. You turn on your computer and click your mouse, and you see another headline somewhere on the internet with the Cavaliers losing a player, most recently Jared Allen. It looks like he could be done for the regular season. We'll see about the postseason. But at 38-29, as we tape this, they are currently 6th in the East, and those are the spots that get a guaranteed playoff series, the top 6. But Michael, with the Raptors charging hard, the Nets coming up big as of late, those two teams might pass the Cavaliers for that 6th spot, in my opinion, with 15 games left, whereas the Cavaliers, instead of that guaranteed playoff series, might end up in the play-in situation. Give me your thoughts on them right now.
Firstly, again, we go back to when the season started, and then as we've been doing our shows here throughout, neither one of us thought that they were going to be in this kind of situation this year.
Right.
So I guess you want to say 67 games deep, it's still a positive. If we would have said back in late October, hey, they're going to be 38-29 with 15 games to go, and in the 6th spot, we probably no, they won't.
Right.
Yeah, no, they won't. So here they are, and yet, Kenny, I think the last time we got together, even more than that, we've been talking about the defensive lapses, right, with this team really started to show up. And that's where, just from a facet of the game standpoint, they were starting to spring water, right, and show some leaks. And now with Allen being out, and of course, you just got Darius Garland back, which is, you can't afford to not have him, because we saw what that was all about. And then Karis LeVert's only played 4 basketball games with him, and he went down, now missed 8 games, and I thought it might be 2 or 3, and now he's missed 8.
Yeah. So
no, it's not a good situation right now, Ken. And I'll be honest, at this point, I don't want to be in that 7 through 10 play-in nonsense. Not that we have anything to do with it, but I mean, I don't want to do that, because I think I don't know. It's it's convoluted. You don't even really get to play a series, right? So if they can hang on to 6, they're going to play a 7-game series, correct?
I believe it's 7 games.
I think it is.
I got to double check, but I think it is 7.
Okay. In that first round, and now that's a truer test. Anything less than that, look, again, it's if you want to say house money, I guess it is. But we Kenny, and they've got to get shooting, man. They've got to get more shooters. They don't have enough. You need shooting in the NBA, and the Cavs don't have enough of that. I think that's rather obvious. That, and as we said, there's been the leakage has started to show on the defensive side of things. So I don't know. I'm a little bit wary about now. They've got 7 of the next 8 at home, Ken.
Yeah.
So that's, you said there's 15 left. So that's half, virtually, I think 10 of the 15, or at least 9 are home games. So really, you got no excuses here. You're not going to be on road trips. You've got the back end of the schedule weighted in your favor at home. I just don't know if they're going to be able to hang in, Ken. How about you?
I think they're going to be in the play-in, and I'm okay with that, because I want them to play as many meaningful games down the stretch, and that is sort of considered the postseason as they can for these young kids, for a Darius Garland, for an Evan Mobley, even for a Jared Allen if he comes back for that play-in tournament or the playoffs. I want them to get an opportunity to see what that next level of games is like for the future, because I think the future is bright. They have surprised us all. They've even in some, I guess in most cases, I've got to believe in that front office, surprised themselves, Reg, right? That they're at this point 9 games above 500 with 15 to go. I've got them down for 4 more wins the rest of the way, though. Okay.
4
I think they're going to finish
4 and 11 in the next 15 games.
Reg, when I look at them at 38-29, right? So that would put them at 42 and 40.
40.
Yeah, to close it out. I think it's going to
in with that.
I think they would get there because I think the Hawks or Hornets are going to, be below that by a game or two. So I could see them, dropping down to the number 9 spot, possibly in the play-in situation. Because if Jared Allen was still here, I'd have a brighter hope for them, right? But with Allen out and LeVert, yes, it'll be great when they get him back, Reg, but you were hoping by now he would have been able to work his way into the rotation, into the system and everything. And he'd really be, focused now and understanding what they're trying to do. But you don't know when he's coming back. Hopefully it's tomorrow. And again, this is a Sunday night taping against the Clippers. But is that enough time where he can really make an impact with 15 games to go? So 42 and 40, I will take that. I had them penciled in for 30 to maybe 35 wins maximum, but more like 30. I was feeling, the 30 as, the watermark. So get in there in whatever capacity it is. Maybe you get lucky and win, that play-in tournament, and therefore you do get a series. Now, granted, it's going to be against the Heat, who they just lost by 12-2, or the 76ers, who've beaten them a couple of times already, or maybe the Bucks, depending on how those 3 teams finish out in the East. But I'd like to see that. So give me the 7th or 8th playoff spot by winning the play-in tournament. And I'll be happy, even if they get swept for the 3 games, 4 games, whatever it is in that first round series. I'll be happy with that because at least it was a monumental step forward for this team and some postseason experience.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. And you always want to see that. So I'm with you on that. No question about it. Are we, so we're 100% convinced that, going forward that, JB Bickerstaff, head coach, Kobe Altman, GM, that are we feeling good that these are the 2 guys that are going to continue the ascent with this basketball team in terms of Altman on the roster side of it and buying all the pieces, putting all the pieces together, so to speak. And then you good with Bickerstaff as your head coach going forward with this team?
I am. I like what I hear from him post-game, Reg. I've been not only watching the games, but I've been waiting and listening, especially after losses, to see how Bickerstaff spins it or talks about it. And there hasn't been a lot of spin, and I like that. I like that he's not, using the excuse. He'll mention them, but he's not using the excuses or the injuries as excuses. And look, we got to get tougher. Hey, they're pushing Evan around down low. Darius, they're starting to double team him. So, he's got to learn from that. We've got to learn from that. So I like what I'm hearing there. And you know me, I wasn't a big Andrew Berry guy before the season started, but I got to give the guy credit based on, Darius Garland turning out to be a hell of a draft pick. What was he, 5th overall? Or was he 8th? Oh, no, he was 5th, right? I keep getting Sexton and Garland mixed up when they were selected.
Garland was 5th. Oh, Coral was also 5th.
And then that means Sexton was 8th. And they've got that chip to play in the offseason. Do you bring him back as a scoring guard off the bench? Do you trade him for that shooting guard that you and I both know they need, right?
Yeah.
So, definitely. I feel good about, what Kobe Altman is doing. Mike Gansey now elevated to general manager as well. And I like what I've seen out of this team moving forward for next year.
Yeah, well, okay. And I mean, that's I think that's the thing. We have to discuss that and we have to talk about it because, yes, they've, if you want to say overachieved, yeah, they've overachieved. But Kenny, I'm, especially in the NBA, man, because I did 14 years there with this Cavalier organization, changing coaches every other week at times, and then, finally getting Tyronn Lue, after the, acquisition of LeBron James. But hell, there were 3 coaches in LeBron's first 4 years here, So, I mean, and when I say get there, that's on times the second time, right. That LeBron came back here. When I was here during his first period of time, he had 3 coaches. Well, in an interim, he had 4 coaches in 4 years.
Right.
So, I mean, to me, that's very important in the NBA. You got to find coaching stability and a team that certainly believes the coach is got them in the right direction and going to be the guy that, they can count on to take them forward. So I like Bickerstaff. I just wanted to see what your, what your thought on it was. If you feel that is front office combinations, general manager, head coach, I think they're extremely important in the NBA, Ken. Extremely important. You got to have a lot of in concert going on there, because I've seen it the other way, and man, I'm gonna tell you, it doesn't work. It does not work. I don't care even if you got decent personnel, it usually doesn't work. So, yes, good season, good solid season. Let's hope they're able in these last 15 games, but they're they're playing at the bottom end of the deck here with this Allen injury, as you said, and now Rondo is back, right?
Well, he left last night's game.
He left last night's game. Yeah. That's right. He did. So you hope LeVert's back tomorrow.
Right.
And we're starting because, and he carries LeVert to get him 16, 17 points every night. And on his, his good nights that he's capable of, get him 22, 23, Ken. So that's what the hope is with LeVert. So let's hope all this comes together and that they can have a strong finish.
Reg, I'm looking real quick at that play-in situation. Here's what happened. 7 plays 8, 7 plays 8, 9 plays 10. The winner of 7-8 gets in the playoffs, okay? Then the loser of the 7-8 spot plays the winner of the 9-10 spot.
Right.
And then the winner of that game gets the 8th and final spot. So there's the potential of, if you end up in the 7, 8, 9, or 10 spot, there's the potential of just one game. Okay. And you're done, or there's 2 games and you're, potentially done. But if you win 2 games out of the 9-10 spot, then you get a series. If you win one game in the 7 spot, you get a series. So that's what the Cavaliers are looking at. That's what they're playing for. I hope I'm wrong on the, 4 and 11 down the stretch. Maybe I could see them going 6 and 9, which would put them at 44 wins. Okay. I just look at the Raptors coming strong. I look at, and this is weird. You know me, Kyrie drives me crazy. Hell of a talent on the court, but off the court, you wonder about the guy. But did you see he was at the game in Brooklyn watching the Nets play, sitting courtside, but he wasn't allowed to. No, not in the bench. He bought tickets.
In essence, he was in the seats, in the stands.
He was watching. He bought tickets, but he was allowed to be in the arena as a fan watching the game. The opposing players who haven't been vaccinated can play in that arena, but the home players who are not vaccinated can't play in their home arena. But yet he was in his home arena as a fan watching from the bench, high-fiving and hugging his teammate. It makes no sense whatsoever.
No, and New York City, baby.
I just don't get it. And if there's clearance when they get him back, and who knows if Ben Simmons plays at all this season or not, but Durant put up 50 some today, whatever it was. Kyrie had a 50 spot the other night. That's a team that wherever they're ranked, the team on the other side of that is not going to want to play them if they get Kyrie back.
No, listen, I'm in agreement with you there. There's no question about that. And if you notice, not that he's, some kind of mega star, but now they got Andre Drummond doing double doubles every night for him too.
Andre Drummond, that's a big. He's a big man.
You wanted him, Coach Luke. I know you did.
He would have tore up Chris Mims and spit him out, guys.
So, yeah. If you're saying that Brooklyn's got a shot now to, because Durant could just go get 50, whenever you need him to.
Kyrie too.
And as much as I hate to say it, he can, because I'm not down with the dude,
right?
But I'm not going to say he can't play,
right?
He can play. Hey, listen, if they met, and that's what everybody's expecting. I think most of the NBA prognosticators, I hear most, Brooklyn's going to make a run. They're going to get everybody right and make a run. You get Irving back in the floor with them, and Durant will do his thing, and they're going to jump to the top of they can't get to the top of the East, but they can come out of the playoffs and it'd be right and get to the finals as the representative of the East. So it's kind of crazy the way it's finishing up, but then I swear, I think Adam Silver and all the muckety mucks in the NBA, Ken, they like it that way. They like it this way because it keeps everybody talking about it.
You ready for my prediction? First round
Go.
series, the Nets and the 76ers. And we saw what the Nets did to the 76ers in the first meeting since the trade. And James Harden, true to form in a big game, clutch situation, shot 3 for 17. Okay. So I think the NBA, they would love the theater of Brooklyn and Philadelphia, Embiid and Durant chirping at each other. Kyrie Irving and James Harden bring in Ben Simmons, his first game maybe in the playoffs or whatever. You know what I mean? They would love the drama of that in the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, it's got major theater written all over it. And yes, as both of us said, this is right up the NBA's alley. They bring all that the more they can. And, you know, they'd probably like to find a way to get LeBron and the Lakers to get in too, so that they can have all that stuff going on in the Western Conference Series as well. You know, they can say what they want, but we know what the deal is, you know. That is the same thing we're talking about. That is the equal of the Philadelphia. It doesn't matter who it's with. Hell, maybe the Clippers have the LA thing, you know, going on. Lakers can't beat the Clippers anyway. Right. So that would just make it more intriguing out there. But yeah, you're right about the Brooklyn Philly thing. No question about that.
All right, Reg, break time for us here on the R&R podcast. When we come back, we'll stay with hoops on the hardwood, but this time we'll focus on the brackets, Bracketology 101, March Madness. The brackets are out. The seedings are set. Who do you like to win it all or at least get to the Final Four? Michael and I will give you our early thoughts on that when we come back.
Hey, everyone. This is Mike Voorhees.
And I'm Brian Shaw. No, not the pitcher. We're the Guardians of the Land MLB podcast, formerly a Swingin' a Tribe.
Don't have time to watch 162 games of baseball? We do. We have you covered with recaps of the games, stats, and analysis throughout the MLB season.
Subscribe now to Guardians of the Land and Press Play Pods for all your Cleveland sports analysis.
Hey everybody, I'm Gary.
And I'm Jason. Opening cards as a kid, no matter what was in the pack, you always had that stick of chewing gum. Well, it turns out Gary and I opened up a box of 86 Tops last year, and let me tell you, the chewing gum does not age well.
Join us on the Ball Card Show,
the sports podcast for the sports collector.
And welcome back to the Reg Iron Rhoda podcast here on the Press Play Podcast Network, brought to you by MGM Northfield Park. And Michael, as we are taping this just an hour or two ago, they revealed the 2022 men's NCAA bracket, March Madness, Bracketology, whatever you want to call it. And in honor of the late, great Jug Dish, Bill Needle, I will fill out at least 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 10 this year, because I have no idea who the hell is going to win this year's tournament, because I think it is completely up for grabs, regardless of the seeding that has Gonzaga as a 1, Baylor, last year's champ, as a 1, Rock Chalk Jayhawk, Kansas as a 1, and Arizona as a 1. What about you?
There you go. Yeah, well, listen, no, I believe chalk is going to prevail this year, Kenny. I see 1 and 2 seeds, possibly only 1 and 2 seeds being Final Four teams this year. I know that goes against conventional wisdom and thought, and say, well, every year there's a double-digit seed that at least get in the Elite Eight. That could be, but you know, to me, and everybody says, no, it's the opposite. To me, there's a Kenny. There's a difference of performance in Kentucky, Arizona, Baylor, Gonzaga, those type of teams, and alls that are below them, and those are the 1 seeds, right? Those are the 4 1s, and I think a 1 seed's going to win it this year, Ken. I really do.
So you say one of the Zags, Bears, Wildcats.
I'm going with I'm going with Crazy Cal and his Kentucky Wildcats, Kenny.
Okay, they're let's see. I believe they're where are they? I'm looking at the brackets here as we break it down. They're in the East as a 2 seed on the lower portion of the bracket. So they would have to get through Baylor to get to the Final Four and then through Gonzaga or Duke to get to the final. So you think that's a possibility?
I do.
Okay.
Cal's got a bunch. He's got, for the first time ever, he's got a bunch of veterans, Ken. These guys are not the one and done guys anymore. So these are guys that actually been with him. There's 6 of them that have been with him 2 years and 3 years now. So I'm going to go with Calipari to win it this year with Kentucky.
All right. I watched their game against Tennessee yesterday. Watched it from start to finish. My good buddy
Tennessee's good, aren't they?
My buddy Mike Johansson played at Tennessee back in the we graduated high school in 82. So he was there during the Barkley years in Auburn. He played against Barkley and Kenny Skywalker at Kentucky in that. So I'm rooting for the Vols. And what I saw out of the Vols, they beat Kentucky twice this year. Once on a neutral floor, once on their home floor. And in watching that game, I don't know if Kentucky shoots it well enough to win a championship. 2 things I look at during March Madness is your outside shooting. Okay. Well, 3 things: outside shooting, guard play, and do you have an elite player? Okay. Who is the elite player, would you say, from Kentucky's roster? Is there one, or is it a conglomerate, like you said, of returning guys that make them, in your opinion, such a formidable foe this year in March Madness? Is there one guy that stands out?
I like, the transfer from Huggins program, Oscar the Shibwe.
Okay.
I think he's their main guy. But Kellen Grady, Severe Walker, Ty Washington. These are their top offensive players that I just named. And again, I think they've got enough to possibly be the team that cuts down the nets. Now, sure, there are other. Hey, listen, if you told me Arizona's going to win it, yep, I got you there. If you told me that Gonzaga finally with Mark Few, well, they got there last year, right? And couldn't get it done with UCLA. So, but like I said, I'm going to go with Calipari this year. I see I see more offense, as I just mentioned, more offensive players than normally, he has that have some experience to him. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Kentucky, and we'll see how it plays out.
I'm going to give you one of my sleeper picks, Reg, that I think could make some noise and surprise everybody and be one of those non-chalk teams, if you will, to get to the Final Four. And it's coming out of the Kansas-Auburn, portion of the bracket in the Midwest. I really like the Iowa Hawkeyes and
me too. That's what's going to be my sleeper team.
I love the Hawkeyes, and I've watched a lot of Big Ten basketball this year, Reg. And I will say this before we get more in on the Hawkeyes: Ohio State, one and done. Okay, they're gonna. I think they're gonna either get beat by Loyola and be a one and done, or they're gonna lose in that second round of Villanova. So the Buckeyes will be lucky to win that first. And I haven't decided if I'm picking them in their first round matchup. They lost as a 2 seed last year. They're a 7 seed against Loyola Chicago, a 10 seed. So I might take Loyola, in the first round upset. You know what I mean?
Well, if it means anything to you, the Ohio State freshman, my son, Cal Regai, thoroughly disgusted. I went to, I think, the last 4 home games, and he just has been ranting to me about, how can they be this bad? And so, it didn't finish well for the Buckeyes.
No, they looked terrible.
It's hard to have any confidence in them, Kenny. As a matter of fact, 9 Big Ten teams, 9 got in, and a whole lot of people, even though I think they won yesterday, and that eased a little bit on Indiana. But there's a whole lot of people that around the country that don't think Michigan and Indiana should be in. And, that's it. I know they root for other teams in other conferences. I understand. Right. Hell, there's some people that don't think Rutgers should be in either. Listen, the Big Ten has always been a conference, Kenny, that seems to have gotten into that 7, 8, this year 9 bids. Now, if you get that, and the committee says it's body of work. They are the only one, though, that Indiana did not play above 500 in Big Ten play. They were 9-11. Michigan and Rutgers were above 500 in the conference. But again, people, I think a lot of people, Kenny, the average fan just looks at overall records and says, well, wait a minute, a team's got 12, 13, 14 losses. How can they be in the tournament? Well,
right.
I won't, you spend a lot of time, but there's other things. The fact of the matter is those three teams, all four of them, if you look at all of the, the Ken Palm, whether it's Ken Palm or the net analysis, all of them are in the top 40 in the country.
All right. Yeah.
So 68 teams go, so they're in the top 40. So you want to penalize them because they're all from the same conference? I don't know. It's a tough call, right?
Here's what I'll say to that, Reg. ACC, Pac-12, Big 12. Sack up,
all that good
play better
year.
basketball. Exactly. Have some of your teams be better teams and play better basketball. So 9 teams from the Big 10 don't make it. So I don't blame the Big 10 and the committee for putting 9 in from the Big 10. 2 of those 9 are in play-in games, right? You've got Rutgers, Notre Dame. That's an 11 versus an 11.
And
you've
Indiana,
got
right?
Indiana, Wyoming, a 12 versus 12. So
correct. They're playing.
They've got to, win one to really get into the field of 64. And I'm okay with that. So really 7 teams made it, solid. Whereas those 2 have to win a game to actually get in. So I'm fine with the way they, they did that because I think, the ACC, Virginia Tech won the ACC tournament and I enjoyed every damn minute of that. You know what?
Down Kenny.
Oh, you can Cameron Indoor Arena. How about that crap burger? All those Cameron crazies had to eat that night, thinking they were going to win by 20 and send Coach K off with a win at Cameron Indoor Arena. Wrong. Sorry. Then they thought, we'll bounce back. We'll win the ACC tournament for Coach K for the 16th. Ate another crap burger today. And then I'm hopeful that they get their 3rd crap burger somewhere in this tournament. And they don't, me, I'm a Carolina guy versus a Duke guy.
Right.
10 times out of 10 and twice on Sunday. So, I enjoyed the heck out of that, but that's not a good conference. Would they get 5 or 6, maybe 6 tops out of the ACC?
Wasn't it 4?
Was it 4?
Wait a minute. Virginia Tech got in
because of the automatic bid.
Because of the automatic bid. Yes, it was 5 then.
Yeah.
Right.
So, so I'm, I'm rooting against Duke. My 2 favorite teams in the NCAA tournament are the Ohio State Buckeyes, who stink right now. And then who's ever playing Duke, along with Carolina. I'll go back to my Phil Ford 4-corner offense days as a Carolina fan. So, I'm going to go if you're giving me $50, Michael Ray is saying, hey, Roadman here, I'm giving you $50. Bet it on whoever you want to, because I wouldn't bet my own money on this. I'll take yours though and put $50 on it in Vegas. All right.
Yeah.
So if you're giving me $50, and I had to pick just one team to win it, so it just tells me, and I'm going back to when Arizona got beat in the first round and they came back to win it all, right? Other teams were knocking on the door for you. I'm going to go with few in Gonzaga finding a way, to win it this year. If I had $50 to throw at the window of your money, I'd put it on the Zags, if you will. Gonzaga. I call them Gonzaga. Is it Gonzaga or Gonzaga? Gonzaga. I always get that screwed up.
I know.
I'm going with the Zags. Yeah. So that's who I would pick to win it. But my sleeper that I would look at what the odds are. What odds can I get on Iowa getting to the Final Four? What odds can I get on Iowa getting to at least the championship game, whether they win or lose it? Give me good odds, and I'll put some money down on Iowa.
I'm with you, and I watched the whole thing today. I've seen Iowa about 6-7 times this year. I really like them. And Fran McCaffrey, man, he's a pretty good coach. He's got a bunch of shooters, and Keegan Murray.
He's an ornery old son of a gun, isn't he?
McCaffrey, yeah. Well, yeah, he might grab one of the boys here and there in the court, maybe throw them, kind of push him or kind of nudge him back to their chair a little bit. You know what I mean? He's not opposed to that, but I'm with you. I think that they got shooting, Kenny, McCaffrey's son, and crazy Bohannon, who I think this is his 8th year in Iowa City.
9th year. I think it's his 9th year.
26 years old, still firing up threes for McCaffrey.
I thought Aaron Kraft spent a lot of years at Ohio State. He's doubled his time at Iowa.
Bohannon's got them all beat, man. I'm telling you, I'd love to take a look at, his transcripts and what have you, since he started in Iowa City. But be that as it may, yes, I'm with you on that. And the other one that I'm on is And, they're one of the blue bloods, but I really like Mick Cronin's UCLA team.
Do you? Okay.
And, when Cronin was at Cincinnati, I used to call it a lot of his games. And, my man, he is a feisty character.
Yeah.
He's another one that he's going to yell and scream and let you know what's up. And, I like that, but they got a couple of guys, Kenny, Johnny Juzang, their point guard, Tiger Campbell, Jaime Jaquez.
Right.
He's got some dudes that can fill it up, and he allows them a lot of freedom to do just that. So UCLA is a team to watch as well.
I call him Johnny Ginseng.
Johnny Juzang.
Get a shot of ginseng. Yeah. He sprained his ankle. Okay. Don't know how severe that is. So that's something just to keep an eye. But I'm with you. Coming out of that, I like them better than Kentucky. I like them better than Baylor this year. So I might have UCLA coming to that out of that lower East region as well in my brackets. I really haven't done much other than like you said, some of the chalk teams early and Iowa over Richmond. I'm not worried that that's a 5-12 game. I think Iowa will win that one. But, Ohio State, one win at most and done. I may have them going out in the very first round, if you will. I don't think Michigan State's got a deep run in them either out of the Big Ten.
How about Purdue and Wisconsin, real quick?
I love Ivy.
What do you think about either one of them?
I think Ivy can carry you further than anybody from Wisconsin can. Wisconsin's the team. They shocked everybody by winning the regular season this year. I think it was a surprise.
They were picked last.
Right. So
in the preseason, last.
And I think that will, play out here, maybe 1 or 2 wins tops. I like Ivy and Purdue along with Edey, the big kid who's like 8'6", in the middle. So Purdue and Iowa are the 2 teams that I look at as making the most noise in the Big Ten in the tournament.
Okay. I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
All right, let's do this. Let's get a break in. When we come back, Reg, on the R&R podcast, I'm going to talk some almost said it. Guardians baseball, because it's back, and that's next. Stay with us.
What's good, everybody? My name is Taylor Vanderbilt, and I'm the host of the Full 40 College Basketball Podcast here on the Press Play Podcast Network. On the Full 40, we talk about literally everything college basketball related. It could be women's, it could be men's, it could be recruiting, it could be the tournament. It does not matter. We cover it all. So check it out. Again, it's the Full 40 College Basketball Podcast here on the Press Play Podcast Network.
We are excited to announce that we are joining the Press Play Podcast Network. The Krypton Report podcast is dedicated to all things Superman, Supergirl, and the planet Krypton. We discuss movies, TV, game, comics, and all things DC.
So join me, Tyler, with my co-host James and Jania.
So join us as we explore DC's multiverse.
Look for Krypton Report on all social media platforms.
And welcome back. Final segment of this edition of the Ray Guy and Rhoda podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network, brought to you by MGM Northfield. And Michael, I'm excited, but I'm not, because I think baseball needs to do a lot of repairing as far as the game itself, the marketing of the game to get fans back. Right now, it's far behind the NFL and the NBA. For me, it's even behind the NHL, and I'm watching more soccer because my son Cameron got me into that. So I'm excited that it's back, because that means that WHBC Radio, the Kenny and JT show, right, we'll be carrying games, and we go from maybe a 4-hour show to a 2.5-hour show with early pre-games, so people can listen to Guardians. If I said Indians already, oops, find me $10 every time I say that. I'm not going to pay it though. But it's back. Major League Baseball's back. The Guardians are back. Here, I'll give our listeners the dates so they can highlight them if they're huge baseball fans. First spring training game for the Guardians will be Friday, March 18th, and that's against the Cincinnati Reds. They share the same spring training home, so they'll play each other Friday, the 18th of March. First regular season game for the Guardians, Thursday, April 7th at Kansas City. It's a 4:10 p.m. start. That's a 4-game series. Then they'll play 2 games after that 4-game series on the road at Cincinnati, and then the Guardians home opener, Reg. And nothing is as traditional as a home opener on tax day, Friday, April 15th, between not the Indians, the Guardians, and the San Francisco Giants at 7:10 p.m. How about that?
Yeah, baby. Now, if that doesn't represent Major League Baseball and just say baseball is everything you love about the grand old game, and I'm about being as facetious as I can possibly be.
I hear you.
What Kenny, what a disaster.
Yeah, I know, right? Idiot Commissioner Rob Manfred and everything like that.
What a complete absurd disaster that they've turned America's pastime into. I listen, Kenny, I've got so little interest, excitement, exuberance right now about it. In I've never been this way in all my life.
Right.
Ever.
You called games. How many years for the Orioles? Play by play. How many years with the Indians and stuff?
8. Indians doing pre and post for 6 more. Again, and Kenny, listen, man, I just think it's a travesty what they've allowed happen to Major League Baseball. Starting with Manfred and all the damn owners, players, just all of them. I mean, don't tell me how passionate you are and how much that you want to make sure that the continuance of this game continues to go through generations of fans. BS with exclamation points on them. No, you don't. No, you don't. All of those groups of people. No, they don't. Kenny, I don't care. I don't care right now. Now, when the season, I guess they start playing, and maybe the games kick in, and who knows? We'll start. I don't know. Maybe I'll start watching the Guardians. Maybe, but right now, I do not care. You?
You know what, Reg? If the Dolans between now and the start of the regular season spend some money and go get major league outfielders, not minor league outfielders, right? And put a major league product out there, then maybe I'll care some more. But I'm kind of, that because think about this. You've got at third base, Jose Ramirez, right? You've got your DH is Franmil Reyes. Med Rosario, maybe at shortstop.
I understand that they're gonna pump up that pitching staff to you.
But you got to score runs.
I understand that.
In that lineup. I mean, Austin Hedges is their starting catcher for crying out loud. Bobby Bradley, maybe at first base, if they settle on him finally after how many years in the minors. You've got Shane Bieber, who they haven't locked up, by the way, to a long-term extension. Okay. You've got Zach Plesac. You got my guy, Savale. Whoa, Savale. Whoa. So I'm excited when he pitches. So I'll look forward to that. And Cal Quantrill, I remember him because his name is the same as your son. So Cal Quantrill is a guy who's probably going to be the 4 starter. Emmanuel Clase is their closer, which I love. I think he proved he can be that guy. Karen Check, after they told him you're not allowed to use the cheaty, sticky stuff, right? He struggled after they made him stop using that. So, what am I named 3 starters that I believe in for sure in the rotation. A closer, that's 4 players. A third baseman in Ramirez, that's 5. And Franmil Reyes, a DH, that's 6. 6 out of the 25 guys, I believe, are legit big-time major league players. After that, I don't know.
I'm impressed. You just broke down the roster. On baseball talk, and that's cool. Like I said, I feel you got to prove a lot to me, Major League Baseball. I don't like what you've done to the people that support you and that basically, are the reason you should be wanting to do it right. Your fans. I don't like what you've done to your fans, owners, players. I think it's a travesty what you've done to the fan bases of these teams. So, we'll see. We'll see how many of them. You know what's probably going to happen, Ken, like always does. Fans will come back and they'll do the all is forgiven thing. And I get it.
You know what's good for baseball, Reg? They didn't miss any games. I'll give them that much credit. Okay. They're going to play a 162. They're going to cram it in sardine it in, if you will, play some double headers and extend the season by a week at the end of the season and everything like that. So at least they're not missing any games because that's the new 5-year deal. It's 162 games, 12 teams in the postseason. So they'll increase that by a little bit. They up the minimum salary to $700,000. The new draft lottery, top 6 will get in the draft lottery. The NL is adopting the DH in 2022. So this season, a standard DH, and then bigger bases and maybe no shift next year. Those are the notes I took out of that, story about what they've agreed to. So at least we'll get 162 this year and not miss any games. But for me, that's great for overall baseball fans. But for me, as an Indians Guardians fan, the Dolans need to step up. They can't be 28th, 29th, or 30th in payroll and expect me to feel great about the team after changing the name and rolling out a bunch of minor leaguers in some key positions.
Well, now, like you said, now we're to Major League Baseball that you defensively can't play what's been done for a million years. You can't shift now. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can't position your defensive infield the way you want to. That's good.
I'm okay with that.
Are you?
Yeah. Here's why. I remember when they did it to Stargell back in the day when I was, growing up and watching the We Are Family Buccos and Chuck Tanner, Chuck's Bucks, right? And I remember as a kid going, man, they're ripping him off, as a little kid, they're ripping him off of singles and maybe doubles with the way they're playing him and everything. And I think if anything, it'll add more offense to the game. And this game needs something to get more fans interested in it. So if by taking the shift away, it adds more offense, adds more runs to games, and creates maybe more excitement, then I'm okay with it. So if they use it and they find out that it does not add more runs to it, and then they want to go back to the old way of allowing the shift, I'm okay with it. But I want to see what happens at least for a season or two by going to the no shift rule. That's just me.
I'm very skeptical about all of it, and I'm taking a wait and see approach. And we'll have a lot more to say as MLB opens up and we start to see how all of these things proceed. I mean, how's that? That's about the best I can give you right now.
How about this with Major League Baseball?
Don't like what they've done to fans. It's just it's not the way. How the hell do they even that this is the way to generationally promote your sport? What every 4 or 5 years of each contract now? Don't you think this is what you could expect, Ken? I do.
Changing of some rules? Yes.
No, they'll change rules, or that there is going to be, again, the potential of shutdowns, lockouts, what have you.
Oh, yeah.
Why they continue to can't get together.
Yeah.
Every time a contract ends. Every time a contract ends.
Right.
Billionaires and millionaires.
Yeah.
Who's hurt by it all?
The fans always.
Yeah, there you go.
Without question. Yeah. So here's what how about we leave Major League Baseball on this? We mentioned the legendary Bill Needle, God rest his soul, earlier in the show. Another late, great K&R host from back in our days. Anybody care about Major League Baseball? Call me now. Mike Wolf, the late great Mike Wolf.
Right.
I may bring that back on the Kenny and JT show and call it the Anybody Care segment. You know what I mean? In honor of Mike Wolf. He'd get done reading the newspaper, the sports section to everybody on KNR, right? Yeah. Let's look at the standings right now. Here the Indians are fine. Anybody care? And that would be, God bless him, man.
That was his go-to, man.
It was. Yeah, it was. So we'll see. Does anybody care about Major League Baseball? We're going to find out, Reg. Hopefully people care about this podcast, the Reg Iron Rhoda podcast.
We hope so.
Yeah. We're going to keep bringing it to you here on the Press Play Podcast Network. Shout out once again to our outstanding, award-winning, I don't know what award it is. We'll give him one. Our award-winning producer, Dave
We'll come
Emmert,
up with one.
for making sure we are on time and we get this thing done and it gets out to you so you can listen to it. Chase Smith and the Press Play Podcast. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, not only to our podcast on Press Play Podcast Network, but to all of the different shows. And there is a a variety of podcasts out there for you to listen to, not just sports related,
Right.
Indians, Guardians, Browns, Cavs, Buckeyes, whatever, all kind of different things. Go check out the Press Play Podcast Network and subscribe to all the shows, including this one right here, the Reg Eye and Rhoda podcast.
You like
All
the
right, Reg.
diversity.
Yes.
I guarantee you like the diversity of what's going on Press Play.
Absolutely.
Really good. Really
All right,
good
Reg,
shows.
we'll do this again real soon. We'll see
Yeah.
how active the Browns
Absolutely.
are in free agency. We'll see if the Cavaliers can make it into the playoffs or at least the play-in game. And we'll see if anybody cares about Major League Baseball with the Guardians. All right?
Sounds good, Road Man. Always good being with you, buddy.
Same with you, Reg. Stay tuned for plenty more of the R&R podcast coming your way here in future weeks on the Press Play Podcast Network. Anybody care?